Good morning, everyone. Welcome to October Think Tank. Wow, the energy today is amazing. We are so glad you're here and that you've joined us. I want to welcome our watch groups across the country. Again, we have Discover Green Bay here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. We have Atlanta, Georgia. We have down in Knoxville, Tennessee. We've got groups all over. In addition, companies that we work with. Exit Planning Institute, who I'll introduce in a minute, has their team watching as well. I want to just take a couple of minutes to say we are so grateful for those of you who show up every month for us. And I was asking some questions of the audience before they came in today. Why do you come to Think Tank? What are the things that cause you to show up and come together every single day? And a lot of the feedback, it's all about you all. You have the mindset of leaders, you're growing your communities, you're growing your organizations, and coming together reignites everybody. And so we're so grateful that you're here. Today we have a very special guest. We have Scott Snyder. Come on up, Scott. You can come up now. You can come up now. Scott leads an organization in Cleveland, Ohio. And Scott and I and Fred have worked together since probably 2019. So we've been friends and colleagues for a long time. He's actually kicked our tails in terms of growing a business. And so we wanted to just recognize them and the good work that they're doing in Cleveland, Ohio, and nationally. They're working across the country nationally. And we're just so grateful for you, Scott. And however you want to lead from here, you go.
Okay. 5 minutes, right?
5 minutes.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. I flew in yesterday from Cleveland, Ohio, which is where my business is located, called Exit Planning Institute. So before I get into maybe my 5 minutes, a big round of applause for the InitiativeOne team, right? Like, what a crazy cool thing. And certainly for Team EPI watching at home, hopefully I'm doing well and not embarrassing us up here. But nonetheless, I think it's really cool that you guys all come out here, and I think at our organization, purposeful growth is a big deal. You go back and look at I came here yesterday to hang out with the InitiativeOne folks, and I see my own company as a featured partner in the back, which I thought was really, really cool. One of the things that you'll see back there is a core value wall. That wall quite literally exists inside of our office and inside of a space much like this that is a collaboration space where we host events and really host many internal events where we bring our company together. At Exit Planning Institute, and for any business owners in the room, we help business owners create a more significant company. What I mean by that is I think if there are owners in the room, I believe that we have a very successful company. I think we're very proud of what we've built. But we realize when we go to transition that company to our employees or to our family members or certainly to a third party that we're kind of like slapped in the face for the first time because somebody's called our baby ugly. What we realize in that moment and the coming moments after that is though we've built a successful year-over-year company. We have a great lifestyle. We provide a great service and product. We have a strong P&L, a strong balance sheet, great customers, great employees. We haven't converted it over to value. And not only have we not converted that kind of income mindset over to value, we haven't aligned our business, personal, and financial goals. So in the United States, only about 30% of companies, privately held companies, are successful in that transition process, whether it's external to a buyer or internal to some type of successor. And so back in 2008, my dad became a certified exit planning advisor, as a consultant by trade, if you will, to help business owners do just that, change their outcome and drive their company from successful to significant. Then I sold a company in 2010 and came over to EPI in partnership with my dad and bought the Exit Planning Institute because we thought what was really missing in the market was a kind of a harmony between all of the advisors that surround an owner on this kind of exit and value growth and value acceleration journey. So we bought EPI with about 120 certified exit planning advisors, and now we have nearly 9,000 certified exit planning advisors in the market. And that was in 2012 and 13. My leadership story, that's a little bit about my business. I'll be here until I have to go back to the airport if you guys want to talk business. I'd love to just say a couple words about my leadership story with Tracy, Fred, and everybody here at InitiativeOne. Truly transformational. I think it's always a great name for the program. I talked about this a little bit on Fred's podcast yesterday too. Profound experience, right? I don't know if everybody's been through that program, but and maybe had such a profound experience like me, but Make a long story short, 2020, I own a... Already? Oh, man. 5 minutes, I'm watching that clack, Trace. I'm watching it. So, short story, 2020, we own a company that delivers professional education 100% during in-person programs across the United States. COVID happens. No revenue at all. We cannot deliver our product because everything's shut down. Schools and universities are shut down. Executive education centers are shut down. And in 45 days, we pivot our entire credentialing program to online. We're like working with masks on. We have a production team like this. And in 45 days, we pivot, and we have about 420 the program in April 2020. And as the owner of the company and as the president of the company, I think what a massive and huge win, right? We pivoted, we're back on track, we're back to selling, we're back to delivering, and we should be happy. At the same time, we started that transformational leadership training, and we're sitting on a Zoom call, and Fred's doing his thing, trying to like get something out of us. I always call it kind of like big group therapy. I did a little bit up growing up, but that was super weird when we started doing it as a huge corporate team. But I'm sitting on this call with 11 people that are a part of that company that helped us pivot. And in the second session, one of our folks goes, Scott, we'll just shoot you straight. Like, no one wants to talk about it, right? Very under the table, if you will. And they put it on the table and said, all 11 of us are looking for jobs. And I said, like, that's crazy to me. We just pivoted an entire company. We're all making good money. We're back on track. We're back on the growth train. What was missing is people and culture. What was missing was shared core values. What was missing was trust accelerators. And so in 2020, we pivot this whole company, and then we pivot ourselves, quite literally ripping down plaques on the walls that were these kind of fake core values that were really made by me and not we. And what I realized in that moment and in the coming years, that we start to lead with grace, we start to lead with empathy, and all of the stuff that if you were to go through their program, stuff that they probably talk about on this stage, truly changes the lives of our employees and the people around us. So the whole team here at InitiativeOne, and specifically Tracy and Fred, have had a profound impact on my life. If you have not been through I call it the big program, LT, I would challenge you to make room and resources for it, because it likely will change your life. So that's a little bit about me and my company. I think I got 1 minute left, so I'll turn it back to Tracy. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. There's some things to take back with you. Thanks so much, Scott. And it's always humbling to see just the hard work that people go through to grow their business. And it really is a testament to Scott and his team, because where the rubber hits the road, their team has done it. So spend a few minutes with them after the think tank. Without further ado, Dr. Fred, would you like to come up? And we are on part 2. So I hope you reviewed last month, because Dr. Fred is going to finish the disciplines of leadership. Come on up.
Thanks, Trace. So this morning, I went up to a couple of the folks that were here last week, Carson, and I said, Carson, how many points did I get through last month? And could you show me your notes on how far I went? There were some folks from Associated Bank here today, and they haven't met me, I haven't met them, but I had this thing in my ear, and they said, you must be the man of the hour, or else you belong in a boy band. I went, so being at 67 years old and being called a member of a boy band is not that bad. So that you can talk to me like that anytime you want to. So you all, I want you to take some notes. We're going to fly. We're going to talk about, listen, I want to say right off the bat that if you are a leader, you've signed up for a different life. If you are a leader, there is responsibility that comes with it that's not involved in being a follower. If you want to play it safe and you want something that you don't have to take responsibility for, that you can always say, well, it didn't happen because they told me to do this, and put it on them, that's how followers think. Leaders sign up to be the tip of the sword. Leaders sign up for impact, not for safety. Leaders say, I recognize that there are going to be days that are going to be extremely difficult. But instead of whining about it, instead of acting like a victim about it, blaming someone else, going into self-pity, going into it's not fair, leaders don't do that. The great leaders say we got a problem. We got a problem, it is what it is, and we're going to lean into it. And so it is a supernatural mentality to think and behave like a leader. It's not normal. You understand? So we are working on being supernatural, abnormal people. So if you'll raise your hand and say along with me, you ready? With enthusiasm. Dr. Fred, I hereby acknowledge that I am very abnormal. Just wanted to put that on the record right there. And so the first thing, last week we talked about 4 things about the disciplines if you're going to be a high-impact leader, a game-changing leader. We talked about they're always working on their self-narratives. You will never raise your leadership effectiveness above your belief system, above yourself. Second, we talked about that they have an abiding belief in other people. We also talked about that they're lifelong learners and they are committed to producing other leaders. Those are great companies. Those are great leaders. Now we're on to 5, and we've already begun to talk about it. Number 5, effective game-changing leaders embrace problems. They embrace problems. Listen, I want to say this. If you don't have problems, you have no capability of growing. Problems are the elixir of growth if you're going to be a leader. You guys believe that? And so, human nature, I want you to fill out this with me. When we get problems, human nature, what's human nature's default reaction when we suddenly wake up and we're inundated with problems? How do we think? Talk to me. Fill it out. Show some leadership. How do you think when you run into problems?
Ignore them.
Say that again?
Ignore them.
You ignore them? Okay.
Self-pity.
Self-pity?
Too much.
Too much. Overwhelmed.
Pull back.
You pull back.
Run.
You run. Boy, you guys are great. Anything you're getting, Phil?
Embrace your problems. Setbacks are opportunities for comebacks.
Ooh, I love that. And so you all, what I've learned is you've got to have a different mindset. Instead of going into woe is me, poor is me, I go into I am thankful for my problems. Because if you have no problems, there's only one thing that can be said about you: you're dead. If you have problems as an organization, it means you are alive. And listen, the greater that you become as a leader, the greater that you become as a organization, the more problems that you're going to encounter. I used to think that the better you become as an organization, the better you become as a leader, the less problems that you have. It is fundamentally the opposite. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. If you want to live your life for bold impact, you are going to get bold resistance. And a lot of times, those problems that you have to deal with, you didn't create them, you didn't cause them, but it is your responsibility to fix them. Would you agree with that? And so one of the mindsets, the disciplines of effective game-changing leaders is they embrace problems. They don't run from it. They are thankful for problems because it is the most potent time to grow as a person. I don't know about you, but in my own life, I've faced some major crisis in my life. Many years ago, many of you know my story, that was self-induced because of choices that I made when I was in addictive behaviors close to 30 years ago. Those were the hardest days in my life. I was coaching someone yesterday who, as an NFL coach, made some poor decisions domestically, and he found himself moving from interviewing for defensive coordinator positions with other NFL teams to now he probably does not have a coaching future in the NFL. And I was coaching him yesterday and telling him, reminding him about my story. And that I look back on those days that I thought were the worst possible things that could ever happen. And I looked back upon those days. And for the first time, I wasn't running from them. I wasn't blaming. I wasn't distracting. I was embracing whatever it took. And I embraced the pain. And I embraced the difficulty. And I took responsibility that I've created this situation. Now feel it and don't run from it. For the first time, let pain become your teacher. And I look back upon that period in hindsight of 30 years later, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. You may be facing problems right now as you're listening to this that are overwhelming, and you're wondering what possible good can come out of this. Whether it's personal, whether it's professional, or a combination of. It's not whether you have the problem or not, it's how you're going to deal with it. Are you going to get back off of the mat? Are you going to quit feeling sorry for yourself? Are you going to calm yourself down? Quit reacting to the noise and say, I'm going to address this. I'm not going to let it address me. We're going to address it. How people deal with problems is the separation between great leaders and mere followers. You guys with me? So say this after me. Dr. Fred, I got problems. You got problems. All God's children got problems. But the biggest problem is the problem seated next to me. Okay? This is called free abuse. You get to abuse your friend next to you with complete immunity. Okay? And so what's number 5? We embrace problems. We are grateful for our problems. We are grateful for the accelerated growth that it is going to create in changing and deepening our character and providing us with wisdom. You guys with me? Yep. You ready for the next one? Yep. Number 6. There is a relentless belief in their organizations. Effective leaders believe so much in doing the right thing for their organizations that they will always put principle above politics. They'll put purpose above personalities, pressure, pain, and profit. What drives great leaders is this: what is on purpose and what is doing the right thing. What is doing the right thing? And I will, no matter how hard it is, I will never knowingly compromise my organization because it's easy. Let me go into that a little bit. We talk about, I'm writing a book now that's talking about the self-belief in corporations. We've talked about our own self-belief. And the average person in America has a level of self-belief of what? 2.7. 2.7. Thank you, Billy. You just did that just like what we practiced. On a scale of 0 to 10, what does 2.7 say? The narrative of 2.7 is, I am not enough. And we've learned, the research shows, if I'm going to be a game changer, I've got to begin to attack that self-narrative. And what our research shows, when you move around a 7 or an 8 in your self-belief, your self-narrative has changed from I am not enough to what? Thank you, Billy. Say, Billy, you're awesome. Billy, you're awesome. Thank you, Billy. By the way, that's one of the ways you change self-belief. You surround yourself with people who are not toxic. You surround yourself with people who believe in you, who pour into you. And so let me talk to you. If you've got 7 people on a senior leadership team that are at a 4 or a 2.7 or somewhere between that, how are they going to act as a team? 2.7. And they will make 2.7 decisions. Let me tell you what a 2.7 organization looks like. A 2.7 organization is an organization that we don't believe in. We don't think that we can make it. So 2.7 organizations don't deal with tough issues. They're afraid that if you hold that person accountable, that person may what? Get mad or leave. And so instead of addressing issues, 2.7 organizations are filled with drama because they won't address the issues, and the issues end up addressing them. The issue is always going to be addressed. Always. The question is, who's going to do the addressing? Are you going to address it, or is it going to address you? There are people, I'm thinking of one organization in particular that I've already spent since 5 o'clock this morning helping through a significant crisis they're going through. And they need to hear this message right now. And I'm saying to them as I'm saying to you, is the issue going to deal with you, or are you going to deal with it? When a 2.7 organization hires people, they don't wait to hire the best that fit their culture. They hire bodies because they don't think they can attract the best. Oh, we live in a rural community where people just don't come here. And if they leave, we may not be able to what? Replace them. That is 2.7 thinking. Oh, and if we have difficult individuals in our team, and they have been with us for so long, they have what we believe is irreplaceable knowledge. And they have high production. We don't think about all the drama that they bring. We don't think about the conversations that they have in meetings outside of the meeting where they get other people drawn in and off track. We don't think about that. We just don't think. 2.7 says we can't get along without them. So they let them do their thing, and who ends up setting the culture of the organization? They do. Because you don't have enough belief in your organization to think that if you dealt with the tough stuff that you all may not make it through. That's 2.7. An 8.0 organization will say, listen, my dear friend Bob, who was up here last month, he has developed one of the best companies in the United States. They were named the Michigan Small Business Award winner a couple years ago. When we first started working with Bob's organization, Bob's talked about this, we started out with working with their top 16 leaders. Now this, fortunately, doesn't always happen, but in our process of beginning to give them the ability and the courage to start dealing with the issues, their leadership grew from 16 to 9. Did you hear that? Their leadership grew from 16 to 9, and not a single one of them was fired. You see, when you start creating a healthy team, there are some people that can't function in a healthy environment. The healthier that your team becomes, the more unhealthy people will see that as unhealthy. And they want out of Dodge. They want out of Dodge. And when they leave, who are they blaming? Everybody but themselves. And Bob had the courage, week after week, to expose his people to this. You got to deal with the issue. You got to deal with the issue. You got to deal with the issue. And the sacred cows quit becoming the sacred cows. Oh, their profitability went up 29 times. That's a 2,009% increase in profitability in 5 years. And it wasn't magic. It meant there were 7 people who left that allowed the other 9 to start focusing on the mission of the organization instead of babysitting the toxic children. That's what effective leaders do. They say, we're going to be an 8.0 company, not a 2.7 company. We're not going to hire a body, and if someone leaves, if we have to deal with an issue, and it means that team is going to be down one, we're going to deal with it. We're going to include the team in the conversation. And when you make that decision to affirm that they don't fit our culture, the team won't go, oh my gosh, why did you do that? When that problem child leaves the team, what will the team say? It's about time. Why in the world didn't you deal with this earlier? And that's exactly what happened with Bob's teams. And those 9 pulled together to become stronger 9 than 9 plus 7 anchors who were pulling along in the middle of the dirt. What are you smiling about?
I said, sure, sit in the front row.
Listen,
I love it, man.
Bob's a leader. He's, by the way, in charge of our executive cohorts here now. Oh, when COVID came along, they switched from making the best hats in America to making masks overnight. How long did it take you?
Overnight, basically.
You guys met for a weekend. If he had had those other 7 on the team, and Bob comes in and says, gang, we have an enormous problem in our country, and we're going to be part of the solution. Let's make masks to keep people safe. What would those 7 have said? Dumb idea. Can't be done. That's not what we do. Instead, they had 9 people that were on the same page rowing together. And they were able to make a switch overnight because they had no drama. They were led, going in the same direction by purpose and unity and high trust. On a Sunday. Is that, we didn't practice that word. What are you thinking as we're talking? What's going on in your head? I'm off script. That's what I do. What are you thinking? There are no crickets in leadership teams that are top notch. No crickets. I asked you a question. I need some information. What are you thinking?
Bold leaders, bold decisions.
Say that again.
Bold leaders, bold decisions.
Bold leaders, bold decisions. Someone out back there.
Good job. Nice. Cool to see how you did it.
Yeah. Did the company become even stronger by addressing their problems? You bet. And so number 5 was what?
Embrace problems.
Embrace problems. Number 6 was that they are committed to becoming an 8.0 company, not a 2.7 company. Quick trip. I was on the stage recently sharing the dais with one of their 2 top leaders. And I asked him this question. For those of you who are not in Wisconsin, Quick Trip is one of those organizations that has the highest level of brand loyalty in this state, and they're trusted because of the customer experience. Incredible culture. And I asked them this, I asked the gentleman in front of our audience, when you hire someone, and many of your stores are out in the middle of nowhere, do you just hire according to whoever can walk in the door? He said, Fred, we have over 2,000 openings right now that we're not able to fill. 2,000. And we will not fill a single one of those positions unless a person fits our culture first and has the character to be a team player in our organization. If they don't, we don't hire them. And he said, our people are on 100% agreement with that. And what happens is the teams come together and they understand there are things in life such as addition by subtraction. There's a reason why that company is a great company. They're an 8.0 company that hires according to principle. They make decisions upon purpose and principle and values. They're not words on a wall. That's 8.0. Here's my question. Are you an 8.0 company or are you a 2.7 company? Are you an 8.0 leader or are you a 2.7 leader? Lots of food for thought in there. You guys with me? Yeah. Hey, Phil, this is church, isn't it, Billy? We call this corporate church, by the way. Phil?
Just one comment. Until you embrace your problems, you've hit your ceiling.
Ooh. Until you embrace your problems, you've hit your ceiling. Great stuff. I'm going to steal that. I'll use that 3 months from now in a public speaking, and I'll say, there was one of our clients who said this in one of our think tanks. 6 months from now, it'll say, I heard someone once say, and then a year from now, I'll say, I was thinking to myself the other day. Number 7, there is a commitment to equal accountability. A commitment to equal accountability. So I was working with an NFL team. I was working with the leadership council like I've done with 6 NFL teams. So I'm not going to tell you which one it was. And the coach and the players the captains that I was working with every week had given me, I'd earned their trust, and they were being real with me. They said, our coach talks about the standard all the time in every meeting, the standard, the standard, the standard. And we're not listening to him. We've checked out. Because we know that we've got about a half a dozen players on this team that are not meeting the standard. One of them came to practice in bedroom slippers, and the coach didn't do a damn thing about it because he scored 3 touchdowns the week before. Another one has missed meeting after the meeting, and he's late for every meeting that he's there. He was called one of the NFL's most talented players. He creates drama. One of his captains said to me, in one of our meetings, he is a cancer. and our coach won't address it. Another one said, yeah, the guy in our room comes into our meeting rooms and he puts on his hoodie and he puts his head down on the desk. He sits in the back room. He doesn't talk to anybody. He won't interface with anybody on this team, but he was an all-pro. They're not meeting the standard. So I sat down with the coach, and he said, what are you hearing? Thinking that I was going to deliver, what do you call butterfly? What do you call it, Scott? Rainbows and butterflies. Oh, it wasn't rainbows and butterflies. It's just a gift. I said, Coach, let me shoot straight with you. You're on the verge of losing your team. Because you keep talking about the standard, and every time you talk about the standard, they get madder and madder and madder. Because you're the only one more than anybody else that's not committed to the standard. And he says to me, you don't understand. The last time that I held that person to the standard that you're talking about, Dr. Fred, we lost 5 games in a row. He said, if I hold him accountable again, I'm going to lose my job. I looked at him and I said, let me tell you something. When you start leading in a way to not lose your job, not only are you not leading anymore, you're being led by the thing that you won't address. And second, the people who lead not to lose their job will lose their jobs because they're operating out of fear, not principle and passion and purpose. You guys with me? I said, you may protect those 6, but you're losing the other 50. You know how hard it is to deliver a message like that? You don't do that if you're someone in my position, because we've been told you get to deal with the NFL world. Man, that is rare air. So you don't ever confront truth, because you may what? Lose your job. Not be given that opportunity. I could care less. The only thing that matters is, are you true to your principle? You know how you get into that rare air? You don't try to get into that rare air. You operate where your feet are, and you give it your best every single day, based upon what is true to our purpose, what is true to my principles, what is true to my non-negotiable values, and our trust accelerators. And if that causes me to lose a job, I'm with the wrong place. That's bold, isn't it, you guys? Be bold. Be bold. You lead that way, your future's going to take care of it. Listen, you've got 2 standards in a sick organization. You've got the standard you talk about and you put on the wall. But in a sick organization, if you tolerate something less, you really don't have 2 standards. You've got what? 1. And the standard is the lowest standard that you tolerate. The great companies have 1 standard, and they're willing to pay the price to protect it at all time. That's the discipline of a game-changing leader. You guys with me? Number 8. Not only is there a commitment to equal accountability, but they put their purpose as the path above all else. I heard this statement a couple weeks ago. It was a skiing instructor who was talking to me. He said, you know, I had a student who wiped out going down the bunny hill. And I asked him, why did you wipe out? He said, because I kept trying to ignore avoid the trees. And eventually I hit one of the trees. He said, that's not the way you do it, son. You don't focus on the trees, you focus on the path. You keep your eyes on the path.
Instead of skiing down the hill in fear and focusing what you're afraid of, you focus on the path. And if you stay on the path, you're going to miss the trees. Isn't that a great leadership analogy? Don't give your power to the things that you're afraid of in your leadership. Focus on the path. What's our purpose? Where are we going? Why are we doing it? And what are our non-negotiable values that are guardrails along the way? You focus on your path. And if you stay on the path, everything else will take care of itself. Dealing with an organization, one of its leaders actually said to me after one of our think tanks, been working with this organization for many years. I quit working with this organization deliberately because they had a change in leadership, and I saw that they were moving off the path. They weren't teaching the things that we had taught them. And we saw they were becoming something else. We said, no, they don't fit with us. We can't do business with them. They're not a partner if they're not walking the same path. They've struggled for 5 years in a row. They've lost people like you wouldn't believe. Their culture has become the culture that I can't even recognize. And one of their leaders said to me right here, we lost our way. We got so arrogant, believing the press of what everybody was saying about us, that we were good, and it kept us from being great. We deal with two kinds of organizations. We deal with the best of the best, and we deal with organizations that are in trouble, and they know they're in trouble, and they have the humility to reach out and say, we need help. But there's a whole bunch of organizations right in the middle that are one notch above mediocrity. And they say, we got it, we're good. We don't need work. And they're already in trouble without recognizing it. The great organizations, purpose is the path above all else. Great leaders, purpose is the path above all else. Sometimes does it require guts and courage to make purpose-led decisions? Does it? You bet it does. Phil, what are you thinking?
So one comment was, when you lead with passion and purpose, you inspire growth. When you lead with fear, you create paralysis.
Oh, that's good stuff. I'm going to steal that one too.
I figured you would.
That's good stuff. Number 9, they're committed to change. If you are a leader, you are wanting to reinvent yourself over and over and over. Thank God that I am not the leader that I was 30 years ago. A top-down leader, scared to death, insecure, couldn't take criticism, defensive, my way or the highway. Man, I'm glad there are enough people who cared about me to have that tough, kind, direct, respectful conversation. Took a long time, took a few years to make that shift, but they stood with me. I'm not the leader that I was 30 years ago, and I hope to goodness in 5 years from now, I'm not the leader that I am today. I want to keep getting better every single day, 1%. I am relentlessly committed to change. Same thing is true for organizations. A world-class organization reinvents themselves every 2 to 3 years. They never arrive, ever. We sat in that room last night looking at services and doing things differently and willing to take a look at our baby that we thought was beautiful. I don't like you, Scott. I just want you to know that. And we're looking at things that were off limits.
And yet there are greatest opportunities to go to a whole different place. Are you willing to reinvent yourself? Are you willing to reinvent your company? You're committed to change, we never arrive. And lastly, number 10, the greatest of leaders are humble. It's not about me, it's about we. That's what Scott's favorite subject is. It's not about me taking credit, it's about me giving credit. It's not about my leadership, it's about the team's leadership. I don't want to be front and center in the middle of the room. I want everybody else to be front and center in the middle of the room. That's humility. The greatest of the leaders are humble. There's a lot to think about there, here, isn't it? I'm going to ask you to do this. Of the 6 things that we've talked about, name 2 that you're going to make a commitment to ask other people to hold you accountable for. Name 2. And I'm going to ask you to email me, fjohnson@initiativeone.com, and say, these are the 2 things that I'm committing to. And here's what I'm going to do. Here's who I'm asking me to hold me accountable. You are not serious about change unless you're willing to make it public and ask someone or a group to hold you accountable. Because we can't make that kind of change by ourselves. It requires a village. Is this helpful? You guys, we are doing supernatural work that's not easy. Some of you may have woken up today dealing with problems that are bigger than how you know how to handle it. I'm telling you, you signed up for it. Embrace your problems. Be thankful for them. You're worth it. You're going to deal with it. Stay calm. Stay focused. Stay on the path. Thanks, you guys. You're the best.